The wine glass sitting in my kitchen sink wasn't mine. I stood there at 11:47 p.m., still wearing my work clothes, staring at the lipstick stain on the rim. Crimson Kiss. Renee's favorite shade. But I'd been in Boston all day for what turned out to be a canceled conference. My wife should have been at her book club meeting until midnight. The house felt different. Not empty, occupied in the wrong way, like someone had been playing house in my absence, and the game wasn't over yet. I'm Jack Carver, 42 years old, and I build custom cabinets for a living. I work with my hands, think with my head, and apparently married a woman who thinks I'm too stupid to notice when she's lying. Tonight, that assumption was about to cost her everything. The TV was still warm. 2 wine glasses in the sink, but only 1 bottle on the counter, half empty. I checked the garage. Renee's BMW was missing, but there were wet tire tracks on the concrete floor. Fresh ones. My phone buzzed. Text from Renee. Book club running late. Don't wait up. Love you. Sent 12 minutes ago. But her purse was still on the kitchen counter. I've always been good at puzzles. It's what makes me decent at carpentry. Seeing how pieces fit together. Finding the gaps. Understanding structure. Right now, the structure of my marriage was showing some serious cracks. Her purse was unlocked. Inside, buried under receipts and makeup, I found a second phone. A sleek black iPhone I'd never seen before. The screen lit up as I picked it up. 3 new messages from B. Can't wait for next week. Your pool is perfect for what I have in mind. Before we dive deeper into the story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. Jack's conference schedule still the same? Tuesday nights are getting boring. You taste like chlorine and bad decisions. I love it. My hands shook as I scrolled through weeks of messages, months actually. Explicit photos, plans, schedules that perfectly matched my work trips and late nights at the shop. The front door opened. Jack? You're home early. Renee's voice carried that fake cheerfulness she used with difficult clients. She appeared in the kitchen doorway, hair slightly messed, lips freshly glossed. How was Boston? I held up the phone. Boston was canceled, but apparently your evening wasn't. Her face went through 3 expressions in 2 seconds. Surprise, calculation, then cold defiance. That's not what you think it is. Really, because B here seems to think our pool is perfect for activities that don't involve swimming. I read from the screen. Jack's conference schedule still the same? Want to explain that one, Renee? She crossed her arms. You went through my private things. Your private things were buzzing in your purse while you were supposedly at book club. I set the phone on the counter between us. Who's B? It's complicated. Try me. I'm smarter than you think. That hit something. Her mask slipped, and for a moment, I saw something ugly underneath. Fine. It's Brandon, from the gym. And yes, we've been seeing each other. Brandon Kessler. I knew him. Cocky ex-jock who managed the fitness center downtown. Drove a red Mustang he was always waxing in the parking lot. The kind of guy who still wore his high school Letterman jacket to bars. How long? Does it matter? It matters to me. She laughed. Actually laughed. Jack, you're a good man. But you're boring. You come home, you work in your shop, you watch TV. Brandon makes me feel alive. In our pool. Among other places. The casual cruelty in her voice hit harder than a slap. 3 years of marriage, and this was how little it meant to her. So what now? I asked. Now you decide if you want to work on this marriage or if you want to be stubborn about it. She picked up the phone, slipped it back in her purse. People have needs, Jack. Mature people understand that. Mature people get divorced before they screw around. Maybe. Or maybe mature people find ways to make things work. She moved closer, put her hand on my chest. I'm not leaving you. I love you, but I need more than you can give me. I looked down at her hand, her wedding ring catching the kitchen light. And what do I get out of this arrangement? You get to keep me. The arrogance was breathtaking. She actually believed I should be grateful for the privilege of being married to a woman who was cheating on me with a gym manager in our backyard. All right, I said. She smiled, thinking she'd won. Good. I knew you'd be reasonable. I'm going to bed. We'll talk more tomorrow. Of course. I love you, Jack. I waited until she was in the shower before I opened her laptop. Password, Brandon 2023. She hadn't even tried to hide it. Her email was a goldmine. Not just the affair, though there was plenty of evidence of that, but conversations with her friends Michelle and Lana from the ad agency where she worked, a group chat called Girls' Night that was really just 3 women gossiping about their husbands. Renee, 2 weeks ago. Jack still doesn't suspect anything. Sometimes I think he's actually getting dumber. Michelle. Maybe he knows and just doesn't care? Some men are like that. Renee. Trust me, he has no idea. I could probably bring Brandon home for dinner and Jack would just ask him about his workout routine. Lana. You're terrible. I love it. Renee. The best part is how grateful he is when I pay him any attention. It's actually kind of sad. I read for an hour. 3 women tearing apart their marriages, their husbands, their lives, treating it all like entertainment. Michelle was having an affair with her personal trainer. Lana was stealing money from her husband's business account to buy designer clothes. And Renee was planning to ask for a divorce after she figured out how to keep the house. The next morning, I called in sick to work and drove to the bank. We had joint accounts, but I'd been the only one contributing to our savings for the past year, while Renee spent her salary on clothes and spa treatments. I transferred everything into a new account in my name only, legal, since it was my money anyway. Then I drove to the other side of town and looked at a house I'd been secretly considering for months. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a beautiful in-ground pool. The owner was motivated to sell quickly due to a job transfer. I made a cash offer. By noon, I owned a house my wife didn't know existed. I spent the afternoon moving my tools and personal belongings to the new place. Not everything. I didn't want Renee to notice yet. Just the important stuff. My grandfather's woodworking tools. My mother's jewelry that I'd foolishly let Renee wear to parties. Documents, photos, anything that mattered. The house was perfect. Built in the 1990s, well-maintained, with a pool that was twice the size of ours. The previous owner had installed professional-grade lighting around the deck. It was exactly what I'd always wanted, and everything Renee had said we couldn't afford. Funny how much money you have when you're not supporting someone else's shopping addiction. Renee came home that evening with takeout Chinese and a guilty smile. I thought we could have a nice dinner together, talk about things. Sure. We ate in relative silence. She kept glancing at me, probably trying to gauge my mood. Finally, she set down her chopsticks. I want you to know that what's happening with Brandon doesn't change how I feel about you. How do you feel about me? I love you. You're my husband. You're stable and reliable and good. But boring. I didn't say boring. I said you were comfortable. There's a difference. Is there? She reached across the table and took my hand. Jack, I know this is hard to understand, but some people need variety in their lives. It doesn't mean I don't value what we have. What do we have, exactly? We have a home. We have history. We have a future. Do we? Of course we do. Unless you're going to let your pride ruin everything. I squeezed her hand gently. My pride isn't the problem here, Renee. Then what is? The problem is that you think I'm stupid enough to accept this. Her face changed. The fake sweetness disappeared, replaced by cold calculation. What's that supposed to mean? It means I know about the group chat with Michelle and Lana. I know about your plans for the house. I know about the personal trainer and the business account. I let go of her hand. And I know you think I'm too dumb to figure any of it out. She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was different, harder. So what do you want? An apology? You want me to grovel? I want you to understand that actions have consequences. Like what? You're going to divorce me? Take half of everything? Good luck with that, Jack. I make more money than you do. I'll get the house, and you'll get to pay me alimony. Maybe. Or maybe things won't work out the way you think they will, she laughed. You're not nearly as smart as you think you are. We'll see. The next morning, I waited until Renee left for work, then I started making phone calls. First to Michelle, using Renee's phone. Hey girl, it's Renee. Listen, I'm planning a surprise pool party for Jack this weekend. Can you and Lana come over Saturday around noon? And bring your suits.
Michelle was delighted. Oh my God, that's so sweet. Is Brandon coming?
Of course. It wouldn't be a party without him. Should we bring anything? Just yourselves. I've got everything covered. Next, I called Brandon directly. Brandon? This is Jack Carver, Renee's husband. I think it's time we met. Silence on the other end. Jack, what do you want to talk about? I want to invite you to a pool party this Saturday. Renee's been telling me so much about you, I figure it's time we became friends. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Renee says you love our pool. I'd like to show you the upgrades I've been working on. Jack, I think there might be some kind of misunderstanding here. No misunderstanding. Saturday at noon. Renee's really excited about it. I hung up before he could respond. Saturday morning, I was ready. I'd spent the week preparing my new house, setting up cameras around the pool area, making sure everything was perfect. At 11:30, I drove back to the old house and waited. Michelle and Lana arrived first, carrying beach bags and bottles of wine. They looked surprised to see me. Jack, we thought you'd be at work, Michelle said. Took the day off. It's not every day my wife throws me a surprise party. They exchanged glances. Lana checked her phone. Is Renee here? Not yet, but she should be along soon. Come on in. Make yourselves comfortable. Brandon arrived 10 minutes later, driving his precious red Mustang. He parked carefully, checking his reflection in the side mirror before getting out. He was wearing board shorts and a tank top that showed off his gym-sculpted physique. Jack. He walked up the driveway like he was approaching a wild animal. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for coming. I know how much you enjoy spending time here. His face went pale. Listen, if this is it's about friendship, Brandon. Come on in. The girls are already here. I led them all to the backyard, where our modest pool reflected the afternoon sun. Michelle and Lana were setting up chairs, chattering nervously. Brandon stood by the gate like he was planning an escape route. So, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear, before we start this party, I thought we should clear the air about a few things. Michelle froze. Clear the air about what? About the fact that you're all lying, cheating pieces of garbage who think I'm too stupid to figure out what's going on. The silence was beautiful. Brandon actually took a step backward. Jack, Lana said carefully, I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. Michelle, how's your personal trainer? Still helping you with those special workouts while your husband thinks you're at book club? Her face went white. And Lana, how much did you steal from David's account this month? Those designer purses aren't cheap. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. I turned to Brandon. And you, how does it feel to be the star of a group chat where 3 married women compare notes on how stupid their husbands are? Jack, man, I never said anything about, you didn't have to. You just had to screw my wife in my pool while she laughed about what an idiot I am. That's when Renee's BMW pulled into the driveway. She walked into the backyard wearing a sundress and carrying a bottle of champagne, clearly expecting to find her husband humiliated and her friends supportive. Instead, she found 3 people who looked like they were facing a firing squad, and a husband who was smiling like a shark. What's going on? She asked. Just having a conversation about friendship and loyalty, I said. About what happens when people mistake kindness for weakness. She looked around the group, reading the situation quickly. Jack, whatever you think you know. I know everything, Renee. I know about Brandon. I know about your plans for the house. I know about the group chat where you and your friends spend your time mocking the men who support you. She set down the champagne bottle and crossed her arms. Fine. So now what? You want to have a big, dramatic confrontation? You want everyone to feel sorry for you? Actually, I want to show you something. I pulled out my phone and opened the Photos app. See, while you were all planning your little games, I was planning something too. The first photo showed the deed to my new house. The second showed bank statements with 0 balances on all our joint accounts. The third showed a folder full of printed emails and text messages. You bought a house? Renee's voice cracked. With the money you thought you were going to get in the divorce? Turns out, when someone's planning to screw you over, it's smart to move your assets first. You can't do that. That's our money. Actually, it's my money. You haven't contributed to our savings in over a year. I have the bank records to prove it. Brandon cleared his throat. Maybe I should go. No, stay. This concerns you too. I scrolled to another photo. See, I've been documenting your relationship with my wife. Dates, times, locations, including the times you use the gym's facilities after hours for your private sessions. His face went gray. You can't prove anything. I can prove enough to get you fired. Your boss is a family friend of mine, by the way. He's very interested in employees who abuse their access to company property. Michelle grabbed her purse. This is crazy. Lana, we should leave. Actually, you should stay too, because I have something for both of you. I showed them screenshots of their own group chat messages. I'm sure your husbands would love to read these, especially the parts where you discuss the best ways to hide affairs and steal money. You bastard, Lana whispered. No, I'm just not as stupid as you thought I was. Renee was staring at the phone like it was a snake. What do you want, Jack? I want you to understand that actions have consequences. I want you to know what it feels like to have your life turned upside down by someone you underestimated. So what's your plan? Ruin all our lives? Destroy our marriages? Your marriages were already destroyed. You just hadn't admitted it yet. I walked over to the pool and knelt down, trailing my fingers in the water. You know what the funny thing is? I always wanted a house with a pool, but every time I brought it up, you said we couldn't afford it. Said it was a waste of money. Jack. But apparently it's not a waste when you're using it to cheat on your husband. I stood up, water dripping from my hand. Well, good news. I got my pool after all. A bigger one, better lighting, more privacy. Where? Somewhere you'll never see it. Brandon was edging toward the gate. Look, Jack, I'm sorry about all this. Maybe we can work something out. Work something out? I laughed. Like what? You want to apologize for screwing my wife? You want to make it up to me somehow? I just think we could handle this like adults. Adults don't screw other people's wives, Brandon. Adults don't mock the people who trust them. Adults don't treat marriage like a game. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How is it supposed to happen? You thought you'd just keep using my pool and my wife until you got bored, then move on to the next married woman looking for excitement? He didn't answer. Here's what's going to happen, I said. Michelle, you're going to go home and tell your husband about the personal trainer tonight. I won't do that. Yes, you will. Because if you don't, I'll do it for you. Along with copies of every message you've sent about him. She started crying. This will destroy my marriage. Your marriage is already destroyed. You just haven't buried the body yet. I turned to Lana. You're going to return every penny you stole from David's business, and you're going to get a job to pay for your shopping addiction instead of stealing from your husband. I can't. You can and you will, because the alternative is David finding out that his wife is a thief who's been laughing about it with her friends. Finally, I looked at Brandon, and you're going to find a new job. Somewhere far away from here. Because if I see you around town, if I hear you're sniffing around anyone else's wife, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man you are. You can't make me leave town. I can make your life here very uncomfortable. Your choice. Renee had been quiet through all of this, but now she stepped forward. And what about me, Jack? What's my punishment? You get to keep your job, your friends, your life. But you don't get to keep me. I never wanted to lose you. You lost me the first time you brought him here. Everything since then has just been cleaning up the mess. She looked around the backyard, at the pool where she'd betrayed our marriage, at the friends who were now avoiding eye contact, at the man who'd helped her destroy everything. So that's it? You get your revenge and ride off into the sunset? I get my self-respect back. I get to stop pretending I don't know what kind of person I married. I'm not a bad person, Jack. I just made some mistakes. Mistakes are accidents, Renee. This was a choice. Multiple choices, over months, while you laughed about how stupid I was for trusting you. I walked toward the house. The party's over. Everyone can leave now. Where are you going? Renee called after me. Home. To my house. With my pool. Jack, wait. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. I stopped and turned around. 3 days ago, maybe. But then I read those messages, where you called me pathetic, where you said I was getting dumber, where you planned to take everything I've worked for and leave me with nothing. I was angry. I didn't mean it. You meant every word, and now you get to live with the consequences. Michelle was already walking toward her car, still crying. Lana followed, clutching her purse like it could protect her from what was coming. Brandon hesitated, looking at Renee like he expected her to fix this somehow. "Go," she told him. "Just go." He left without another word, his Mustang roaring to life in the driveway. Renee and I stood alone by the pool. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now, you figure out how to rebuild your life without me in it. I don't want to lose you. You already have." I went inside and packed the last of my things while she sat by the pool, staring at the water. When I came back out with my suitcase, she was crying. "I love you," she said. "No, you don't. You love the idea of having someone who will take care of you while you do whatever you want. But that's not love, Renee. That's just convenience." "So you're really leaving?" "I left 3 days ago. I just hadn't told you yet." I walked to my truck and loaded my suitcase. She followed me to the driveway. "Jack, please, don't do this. We can start over." "We can't start over because you're not sorry you did it. You're just sorry you got caught." "That's not true. Prove it. Tell me you'll cut off all contact with Brandon. Tell me you'll quit your job so you don't have to see Michelle and Lana every day. Tell me you'll do whatever it takes to rebuild the trust you destroyed." She was quiet for a long moment. "I can't quit my job. I need the income." "There it is. That's not fair. I have to be practical." "Being practical would have been not cheating on your husband in the first place." I got in my truck and started the engine. She stood in the driveway watching me back out. "Where will you go?" she called out. "Somewhere better." The drive to my new house took 15 minutes. 15 minutes to travel from the worst day of my marriage to the first day of my new life. The pool was perfect in the afternoon light, clear blue water reflecting the sky. I'd had it professionally cleaned and the chemical balance tested. Everything was exactly right. I changed into swim shorts and dove in, feeling the cool water close over my head. When I surfaced, I was smiling for the first time in days. My phone rang. Renee. "Jack, I've been thinking. Maybe we could try counseling. Maybe I could make some changes. It's too late for that. It doesn't have to be. People work through affairs all the time. People work through affairs when both parties want to save the marriage. You just want to avoid the consequences." "That's not true. Renee, in the 3 hours since I left, have you called Brandon?" Silence. "Have you?" "Once, just to see if he was okay." "Goodbye, Renee." I hung up and turned off the phone. The next few weeks were busy. Divorce papers, asset division, lawyers. Renee fought for the house, but the mortgage was in both our names and she couldn't afford the payments on her salary alone. She fought for alimony, but the evidence of her affair made that a losing battle. Michelle's husband filed for divorce after she confessed about the personal trainer. Lana managed to return most of the money she'd stolen, but David kicked her out anyway. The group chat that had caused so much damage was disbanded, its members scattered to separate lives and separate consequences. Brandon left town after losing his job at the gym. Apparently, using company facilities for affairs violated several clauses in his employment contract. Last I heard, he was managing a fitness center in another state, probably working his way through a new crop of married women looking for excitement. I kept the house with the pool. Every evening after work, I'd come home and swim laps in the clear blue water, thinking about how different my life had become. Better. Cleaner. More honest. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I was floating on my back in the pool, watching clouds drift across the summer sky, when my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, called over the fence. "Jack, you've got visitors." I looked toward the house and saw a familiar BMW in my driveway. Renee was standing by the front door, and she wasn't alone. Michelle and Lana were with her, all 3 women dressed like they were going to a business meeting. I climbed out of the pool and grabbed a towel, taking my time. Whatever this was about, they could wait. "Hello, Renee." "Jack, you look good." "I feel good. What do you want?" We came to talk, all of us. "About what?" Michelle stepped forward. "About making things right." I laughed. "Making things right? Which part? The cheating, the lying, the stealing, the months of mocking me behind my back?" "We know we made mistakes," Lana said, "but we've all learned from this experience." "Have you?" "Yes, and we think maybe it's time to put the past behind us and move forward." "Move forward to what?" Renee took a deep breath. "I want you back, Jack." I've had 6 months to think about what I lost, and I realize now that you were the best thing in my life. Funny how that works. You didn't realize it when you had it, but now that it's gone, suddenly I'm valuable again. I made a terrible mistake, but people deserve second chances. Some people do. People who are genuinely sorry. People who take responsibility for their actions. People who don't spend months planning to screw over their spouse. I am sorry. Are you sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught? She hesitated just long enough to give me my answer. I'm sorry I hurt you. That's not the same thing. Michelle cleared her throat. Jack, we're all trying to rebuild our lives here. Maybe we could all benefit from forgiveness. How's that working out for you, Michelle? Did your husband forgive you? Her face crumpled. No, he didn't. And you, Lana? Did David take you back after you returned his money? We're working on things. So you're all here because your lives fell apart and you think somehow I'm going to fix them for you. We're here because we realize we made mistakes and we want to make amends, Renee said. Make amends how? You want to apologize? Fine, you're sorry. Apology noted. Anything else? I want us to try again. Why? Because I love you. No, you don't. You love the security I represented. You love having someone to fall back on when your bad choices catch up with you. But you don't love me. That's not true. Prove it. What's my favorite movie? What does that have to do with anything? You were married to me for 3 years. What's my favorite movie? She looked helpless. I don't remember. The Shawshank Redemption. I've watched it probably 50 times. You always complained that it was too long and boring. I looked at the other two. What about you? Michelle, what do I do for a living? You're a carpenter. I build custom cabinets. There's a difference. I turned to Lana. What's my middle name? Blank stare. It's Thomas. After my grandfather, who taught me woodworking. The grandfather whose tools you convinced me to sell last year because they were taking up too much space in the garage. Renee's face went pale. Jack, these are just details. These aren't details. This is my life. And the fact that none of you know anything about it proves that you never cared enough to pay attention. We care now. Now that you need something from me. I walked closer to them, close enough to see the desperation in their eyes. You know what the really sad part is? If you had come here 6 months ago, if you had been honest about the affairs and the stealing and the lies, if you had asked for help instead of trying to manipulate and deceive me, I might have been willing to work with you. We're asking now, Renee said. Now you're asking because you're out of options. Your affair partner left town, your friend's marriage is imploded. Your support system collapsed. So now you want to come back to the reliable guy you spent months mocking. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to a screenshot I'd saved. Here's a message from you to Michelle, dated 2 months before I found out about Brandon. The best part about having a boring husband is that he's always there when you need him, like a reliable car that starts every time. She flinched. A reliable car. That's how you saw me. Something useful but unexciting that you could count on to be there whenever you needed transportation. I was angry when I wrote that. I didn't mean it. You wrote dozens of messages like that, Renee, over months. You weren't angry. You were honest. And now that your exciting life has turned into a disaster, you want your reliable car back. Michelle started crying again. Jack, please. We know we screwed up, but we're trying to make it right. You're trying to make it convenient. There's a difference. I gestured toward the pool. See that? That's what I always wanted. A house with a pool where I could relax after work, maybe have friends over for barbecues, enjoy the life I was building. But every time I mentioned it, I was told it was too expensive, too much work, not practical. Jack, but it wasn't too expensive when you wanted to use it for your affair. It wasn't too much work when you were planning pool parties for your lover. It was only impractical when your husband wanted to enjoy it. I walked to the edge of the pool and looked down at the clear water. This pool is bigger than our old one. Better filtration system, heated, professional lighting. Everything I dreamed about and more. It's beautiful, Renee said quietly. And you'll never swim in it. The words hung in the air like a physical blow. Jack, she whispered, please don't do this. I know I hurt you, but I'm trying to make it right. You can't make this right, Renee. You can't undo months of betrayal with an apology. You can't rebuild trust that was deliberately destroyed. People forgive affairs all the time. People forgive mistakes. They forgive moments of weakness. They forgive accidents. I turned to face her. But you didn't have an affair, Renee. You had a relationship. You made plans. You scheduled your betrayals around my work trips. You brought him to our home, our bed, our pool. You turned our marriage into a joke and shared that joke with your friends. I know, and I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Then what would? What do you want me to do? I want you to leave, all of you. I want you to go back to your separate disasters and figure out how to rebuild your lives without dragging me down with you. Jack, please. No. My voice was harder now, final. You had your chance. You had 3 years of marriage to treat me with respect and honesty. Instead, you chose to lie, cheat, and steal. You chose to mock me with your friends. You chose to plan my destruction while pretending to love me. I walked toward the house. Now you get to live with those choices. Where are you going? Inside, to my house, to enjoy my pool, to live the life I built without you. Jack, wait! I stopped at the sliding door and looked back. You know what the funniest part of all this is? They waited. If you had just been honest from the beginning, if you had told me you were unhappy instead of cheating, if you had asked for a divorce instead of planning to destroy me, I would have been hurt, but I would have respected you for it. We could have parted as friends. We still can, Renee said desperately. No, we can't. Because friends don't treat each other the way you treated me. Friends don't lie and cheat and steal. Friends don't mock each other behind their backs. I slid the door open. You made your choice when you decided I was too stupid to figure out what you were doing. Now you get to live with the consequences. This isn't over, Michelle said, anger finally breaking through her tears. Yes, it is. We'll fight this. We'll find lawyers. You'll what? Sue me for refusing to take back a cheating wife? Sue me for not helping women who stole from their husbands? Sue me for moving on with my life? Lana stepped forward. You can't just destroy our lives and walk away. I didn't destroy your lives. You did that yourselves. I just refused to help you cover up the damage. You're enjoying this, Renee said, her voice full of venom. You're enjoying watching us suffer. I'm enjoying my freedom. I'm enjoying my pool. I'm enjoying not having to wonder what lies I'm being told or what betrayals are being planned. I smiled, and yes, I'm enjoying the fact that actions finally have consequences. You bastard. Maybe. But I'm an honest bastard, which is more than any of you can say. I went inside and locked the door, watching through the window as they stood by the pool, arguing among themselves. Finally, they walked back to the car, their grand reconciliation mission a complete failure. I changed into swim shorts and dove into the pool, letting the cool water wash away the last remnants of my old life. When I surfaced, they were gone. That evening, I grilled a steak and ate dinner by the pool, watching the sun set through the trees. My phone rang several times. Renee, Michelle, even a number I didn't recognize that was probably Lana, but I didn't answer. I had everything I wanted now. A beautiful house, a perfect pool, and the peace that comes from knowing exactly who you can trust. The answer, it turned out, was simple. Myself. As the stars came out, I floated on my back in the warm water, thinking about how different my life was now. Cleaner, simpler, honest. The last pool party had been a disaster for everyone except me. For me, it had been the beginning of everything.